The most humbling part of my job is serving as Commander-in-Chief to the world's finest military. And there's nothing I take more seriously than my responsibility to those who sacrifice their own safety to defend ours. That's why Michelle and I have made supporting veterans and military families a top priority from the start.
Well, as you can see, the president's #1 priority is veteran care. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but President Obama back in 2007 was on the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, and he still is.
You mean the specific allegations that I think were reported first by your network out of Phoenix? I believe we learned about them through the reports. That's when we learned about them, and that's when, as I understand, Secretary Shinseki learned about them.
Now, I find it hard to believe that Jay Carney says the president just now found out about this when it came out on the news.
Hey, sir, you can't come on property.
Okay, we're just gonna get our vehicle then. We'll leave.
What's that?
So we'll get our vehicle and leave then. We were just trying to,
Just stay off the property for me.
I can't get my car?
This has been a fiasco with media. We have so much media. Sir, they are with INFOWARS, magazine, talk show. Stuff.
We're doing a report, that's why we're kind of standing here, but we're doing stuff on veteran suicides and how people think that they could help kind of fix it, that's all.
Okay, yeah, but any media can't be done on property. Let me get your information if you don't mind, sir.
I just got kicked off the VA in Austin Center by police. And all I said I was going to do was interview a few veterans walking through the parking lot and ask them a few questions about suicide awareness with veterans. And they said I couldn't be there on property because of the scandal going on right now. Now, this says a lot about our government. Instead of fixing the problem, they'd rather just sweep it under the mat and forget all about it. Today, I interviewed 2 soldiers who gave me their accounts of mistreatment at VA clinics. You said while you were in the service, you were, drugged quite a bit by the military, excessive amounts of painkillers that would get you, over time. You would be addicted to things like that. Give me a little background on that and what you experienced with the mass drugging.
The mass drugging, one of my duty stations after Fort Campbell, pretty much, you're in pain, they wrote your prescription. You're freaking going cuckoo, or say you're feeling this way, they wrote your prescription. It pretty much was just like, we'll write your prescription for this, we'll write your prescription for that. And there's people that I know that will attest that I was pretty much in a zombie-like state. They sent me to therapy when I was in Colorado. But the therapy they sent me to there was a civilian-run contractor, and at the civilian-run facility, they pretty much drugged me even more and more and more. So that necessarily wasn't the military's fault. That was just another facility's fault. When I got out of the Army, my friends can attest for this, I was a train wreck. I literally was a train wreck, a zombie, hated life, hated everything, didn't know what I was gonna do, and it was just awful.
You thought people were kind of coming after you for a bit of time there, though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I did. It's normal with PTSD to have some paranoia, which I still suffer with right now. But the amount of paranoia I was having at the time when I first got out was ridiculous. I had friends stop talking to me because they thought that I was going nuts.
The problem was that the medication doctors there, they were all about some pills, just here, take this, it'll maybe make you feel better, or it was nothing but side effects all the time. It drove me to do nothing but want to drink and pack on a bunch of weight and everything else, just because all the side effects one had over the other.
What kind of pills did they give you? Did they give you antidepressants, pain pills, things like that?
When I first got out, they were giving me tranquilizer, just sedatives, basically. It's supposed to make you happier, but in essence, for a lot of us, it just kind of seems like it makes you more depressed. You weren't even seeing like real doctors. It took me, I think, 4 months before I actually seen an actual psychologist and a counselor to help me with some of the crap I was dealing with. And I got tired of it, and I ended up moving from Florida to Texas. So, and San Antonio really isn't any better. I ended up going there for I didn't know I had type 2 diabetes, and I ended up going there with a blood sugar of like 890 something.
So the VA in Gainesville never even called on to the fact that you had diabetes and you've gone an extended amount of time without even getting that taken care of?
Yeah, they told me, you were like a soda pop away from a coma.
That's a prime example. You could have been on a secret list like the one in Phoenix, Arizona. That's scary to know that these guys could have known or did know and decided just to kind of let that slide and just, whatever, sort itself out over time. Over the past 3 days, I've had the opportunity to speak with 4 separate whistleblowers that worked at VA clinics across the nation. Now, they all had something interesting to add.
And made statements, racial slurs against veterans, have made statements that, older veterans, they should just be taken outside and shot in the head because they're worthless. And this person still works there.
One of the biggest issues with the VA care is the fact that we all know there's a rise in suicides and anxiety and depression. And instead of actually treating the underlying issues through new technologies, they just hand out pills. And they hand out so much medication at the VA that at the VA, pills have become a currency. And veterans get arrested or they get detained because it's federal property because they're just handed out these pills. I mean, I have a back problem. I could go to the VA right now and probably get a 3-month supply of Vicodin. In the private industry, that won't happen. And I really believe that they rely on veterans being addicted because they go to what's called the addiction clinic, where they receive funding per head.
Is there a reason that a lot of these VA clinics, and I don't know if this trickles to you at all, but I keep getting reports from a lot of the veterans saying that when they go in and they have problems, they're being asked if they have weapons, how much ammo they have, and where they store them at. Now, is that something that is a across the board type question?
Not specifically whether they have weapons in the house, that sort of thing. But, not to open up another can of worms, but, there's been issues in the past where if a doctor feels that a veteran is rated incompetent without that due process, we would send them a letter basically saying that, yeah, you're not allowed to own weapons or, it's against the Brady Bill or the Brady Law.
You have a lot of people that are coming out of the military that have the ability and the knowledge to build IEDs and to defeat law enforcement techniques.
Mainstream media is not going to do their job covering this story whatsoever, so it's our job here at InfoWars to get the story out. If you have any tips or anything like that, please email them to vets@infowars.com. And don't forget, our oath to the Constitution has no expiration date.
Well, that's it for tonight's news. Join us Monday at 7 Central. And of course, next week, we're going to be in Copenhagen reporting on the Bilderberg meeting. Don't miss that.
A group of more than 500 retired pro football players have filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL. They're claiming that the league unethically supplied them with illegal prescription pain medications so they could play the game through serious injuries. As a result, these players now suffer from addiction and long-term health problems caused by the risky narcotics. The abusive practice by the NFL basically substituted pain medication for medical care, thus keeping the league's tsunami of dollars flowing. Players were sent out onto the football field unaware they had serious injuries. Super Bowl champion quarterback Jim McMahon says team doctors never told him he had a broken neck. They just fed him more pain pills. And his teammate Keith Van Horn says he played an entire season with a broken leg while on a steady diet of painkillers. The class action lawsuit follows another NFL conspiracy to cover up the dangers of concussions, which was the focus of League of Denial, a powerful PBS Frontline documentary that details how the NFL covered up the concussion crisis.
What League of Denial is about the invisible disease attacking the brains of football players. According to the scientists we talked to, the cumulative effect of maybe as many as 1,500 hits a year, the likelihood that your brain has a lot of damage done to it is very high.
ESPN was so alarmed by the film that they ended their production partnership with PBS for running it. Meanwhile, the NFL agreed to pay close to $800 million in lawsuits accusing the league of concealing the risk of head injuries. And as we've been reporting all along here at InfoWars, the National Football League has also emerged as an establishment political tool. So it makes sense that they cover up scandals and deal drugs. And get this, the NFL is a $9 billion a year business and growing, yet they are totally tax-free. That's right, they do not pay a dime in taxes. The owners consist of a group of billionaires who buy politicians who agree to use your tax dollars to build lavish stadiums that are also set up as FEMA relocation camps in the event of an emergency or civil unrest. Hey, we're here in Denver, Colorado, and we're covering Operation Mountain Guardian. Now, this is a large-scale terrorism drill, and 100 different agencies actually took part in the exercise. Now, this was a test for Homeland Security and FEMA to test their capabilities in what they referred to as a catastrophic situation involving a terrorist attack. One of the primary locations of the drill took place right behind me at the Sports Authority field, where the exercise involved participants processing children in and out of the FEMA camp that they set up inside of the stadium.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has teamed up with the Department of Homeland Security, sending TSA Viper teams to football stadiums. They turned the Super Bowl into a police state, complete with Illuminati rituals, while at the same time banning pro-Second Amendment ads and promoting Obamacare. They are the poster child for the New World Order, and they play a heavy hand in conditioning the public. And for those of you who think that it's completely harmless to be a die-hard football fan, like I used to be, and you honestly believe that you're not the subject of conditioning, you have to ask yourselves what it would be like to live in a country where people were as passionate about football as they were for things that actually matter. Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. And now you can protect yourself from corrupt cops with the InfoWars dash cam. It's your car's black box that records all that the driver sees and hears. And introducing the Block It Pocket. It renders your phone undetectable while protecting your private data and your health. Or take back your privacy and protect your personal information by getting your very own Detractor cell phone pouch. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
When a war is waged, the question most often asked is why? And we find plenty of reasons, whether they're real or not. But perhaps the question we should be asking is not why, but who?
Recovery mission underway. We are Oscar Mike.
To understand this war, we have to go back, further than any of us could have anticipated. As tragic as it was, brought about the unwavering unity of the American people. But what would it take to unite the entire world?
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species